Hello and welcome back to my studio. It's Lois here from Lois and Morgana Davidson Art, and today I'm going to be showing you how I painted this loose watercolour summer harvest landscape. I've tried to capture that golden moment when the sun is sort of diffused through the clouds as evening approaches, and how the light is picked up by the crop and these hay bales here in this composition. But just before I start, just to let you know that my book Landscapes in Watercolour is available to buy from all good bookstores. While it's suitable for beginners, it's also great for intermediates too. There's lots of information to get you started painting in watercolour and 10 tutorials, 5 pure watercolour and 5 ink and watercolour. So back to this demo. Pause the video here if you'd like to take a look at my very quick sketch. All I've done is lightly mark in pencil my horizon line, my hay bales and a very faint distant tree line. And I'm going to start off by painting the sky wet in wet. I'm using my large wash brush, which is a Princeton Aqua Elite Modeler brush, and I'm wetting the sky all over, leaving a few sort of dryish patches. That's just a little bit of fluff, wiping that off, leaving a few dryish patches here and there, so I will get some soft and hard edges in my sky when I come to paint it. Working around the hay bales because I don't want to get the sky colour into them too much. And a quick brush of water across the foreground, and we're ready to paint. I'm using Milford cold press watercolour paper. It's taped to my board with ordinary decorator's masking tape, and my board's at an angle of about 20 to 30 degrees. This is light value raw sienna, and I'm just brushing it across the horizon just to make sure I get that lovely glow, that golden hour glow in this painting. Now I'm going to just put a bit of this colour across the field just to get that started, wet in wet. And now for my nightfall or twilight sky. This is Payne's Grey, indigo and a bit of sepia. I've mixed up quite a creamy mixture, mid to dark value, and starting off very dark across the top, allowing the paint to run out, and working around some unpainted areas of the white paper for clouds, and also working around the glow of the raw sienna, introducing these kind of clouds rolling in over the harvest field. I'm swapping from large sweeping brush strokes to using the tips of the brush for my smaller brush strokes closer to the horizon. Swapping now to my 3/4 inch flat brush and a mid-value raw sienna, just to pick out and add a bit of tone and colour to my hay bales. And then back to my modeler brush, working around the hay bales, around the horizon, and with this dark mixture of indigo, Payne's Grey and a bit of sepia to put in my distant tree line, which is in deep shadow. This dark contrast will help with the effect of making the sky glow really light, and also bringing out the colour of the fading sunlight on the field. So this dark element across the background is really important. Using a tissue just to clean up where I've got any paint into the hay bales. I want to keep the hay bales quite light so they stand out against that dark tree line. I've changed again this time to my fan brush, and I've mixed up some raw sienna with some burnt sienna and a bit of sepia, and using these vertical brush strokes, and this will give me the suggestion of the crop in the foreground. If you're interested in seeing the reference photograph that I've used, you can find that over on my Patreon page, where there's an exclusive workshop which looks at simplifying photographs and how I choose my reference photographs for painting. So pop over there if you're interested. So I'm using horizontal brush strokes and a sort of lighter value of raw sienna to create the distant field, working around the hay bales. Again, using a bit of tissue just to dab out any paint that's got into them. So that's the wet in wet stage finished. I'm going to lay my board flat because I don't need the washes to sort of run and flow anymore, and sort of continue focusing on the hay bales. This is a darker value mix of raw sienna, burnt sienna, touch of sepia, and I'm using my size 1 quill brush to paint the sort of cut round edges that are in shadow of the hay bales. It's those curved sides that I want to catch the light, so I'm trying to get that sort of texture of the rolled up hay. And I've added a dab of Payne's Grey to the mix and adding some shadows at the base of the bales. And then swapping to my flat brush, because I can use the tips of the brush to get a nice fine line, and I can pull a shadow across towards the left from each bale. That helps to seat the bales in the field, and also helps to continue to emphasise the light. The light will always show up more in your paintings if you can contrast it with areas of dark. This is my palette knife, and I'm using the tip of my size 5 palette knife just to scrape through the damp paint in the foreground, and this just gives me a little bit more texture along with the fan brush marks to suggest that foreground field. I can go back with the fan brush as well, so I'm trying to get a little bit of shadow in there too. And I think I want to just suggest a few little wildflowers growing up amongst that crop. So I'm going to use some ordinary fine ground table salt, and just before the painting dries I'm going to sprinkle a little bit of that into the foreground, and hopefully each salt grain will push away the paint and give me some little marks. But it's quite humid in my studio, so it might not work that well today. Now back to the flat brush, just dragging a bit of dry brush across the field horizontally to keep that distant area flat. Working around the hay bales and the shadows, just increasing the tonal value on the field a little. If I get any hard marks, I can just smudge them with my finger a little bit, and that helps to blend them in. I've mixed a really dark colour from Payne's Grey Indigo and a touch of sepia, but almost black. And now using my size 1 quill brush, I'm working around the hay bales, creating a nice hard curved edge and darkening up the shadows there so that these hay bales will stand out even more, allowing that sort of dark colour to sort of blend out and leaving the underpainting, which is a slightly lighter dark, so that I get a bit of variety in that background tree line, but really using this dark to increase the contrast even more. I'm using a size 3 round brush to now make sure that the light side of these hay bales stand out nicely. I've mixed a little bit of opaque white gouache with the raw sienna, and I'm using it to paint over any sort of inadvertent dark areas on the hay bales that I want to keep light, and blending it in with darker value raw sienna, maybe with a bit of sepia at the base of the curve, if you see what I mean. This way we can get the light reflecting on the sides of the hay bales and give them a little bit of extra shape and form. So it's just a bit of back and forth between the light side and the shadows just to get these shapes balanced. A quick brush across the foreground with a clean dry brush to remove any salt grains that didn't dissolve. And now I'm going to remove the tape from the painting and see how it looks with its clean white border. And here's the finished painting. And I'm pleased with the way this has turned out. What I was looking to do was to create that magical light that we see in golden hour as night is about to fall, and that beautiful golden light infuses the scene. It's a very simple painting. It's very loose. It's a bit rough around the edges, but I think that doesn't matter with a loose painting. I think it's sometimes easy to get bogged down with details and striving too hard for perfection and just lose sight of the fun and the joy that can be had from just simply expressing yourself loosely with large brushstrokes on the page like this, just to create an overall atmosphere rather than a sort of photographic, realistic scene. I hope that was helpful. If you enjoyed the painting or found it useful in some way, please click on the thumbs up button. And if you haven't subscribed to our channel, then I'll invite you to do so. It's free and it really does help with our reach here on YouTube. And many thanks to everybody that supports the channel on Patreon. We couldn't run this free to view channel without you. I'll see you again soon. Take care and happy painting. Bye.